Childcare Answers is your local childcare resource and referral. So we help and support families in Marion, Hendricks, and Hamilton County on finding childcare, and then also just with parent education and workshops, kind of like this. And so we got connected with Tamesha Allen, and we're going to share more about what she does here in just a minute. But we like to invite our community members to come in and speak to us and share more about their expertise. And so today we're going to be talking about growing purposeful parenting. But Tamesha is an inspirational speaker. She is a co-author, a youth and young adult advocate, educator, and scholarship strategist, as well as a seminar leader. She is an owner and operator of Tamesha Speaks, LLC, where she focuses on youth and young adults, education, and also inspiring women. When she speaks, it is a word that shifts minds for greatness. She has her master's degree in student development, counseling, and administration from Indiana Wesleyan University, and she currently serves as the co-chair for the Near Northwest Education Committee for Planner House of Indianapolis. She has received several organization awards and has been featured in magazines as well as podcasts. She and 19 other female authors just released a book, which is very exciting, called The Impact of Influence, Volume 3, Ladies Edition. And I'm going to let her share more about that through her presentation. But she has extensive client lists that includes churches and conferences, schools and colleges, organizations, women, and youth groups. And then she provides them with confirmation that dreams can and do come true. Tamesha, we are so honored to have you here today.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so I have a lot of energy and I hope that you all are doing well. I believe that mental health is important, so I want to check in. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Jamie and the staff and Childcare Answers for giving me this invitation, because I believe that it is important that we all surround ourselves with positive people, because positive people brings positive results. And my hope and prayer is that today that you all will glean from what I have to share. And I do have some stories to share as well. So I'm excited about that. So I chose this topic because I do know that parenting is not easy. Let me go ahead and be clear. It is not easy at all. I am the godmother of twin boys. They are 6 years old. They will be 7 July the 15th of this year. And actually one of them have autism. They're on the lower spectrum, but we recently found out that they're IP and there was some things that they were diagnosed that we did not know before, and that was autism. And it was an eye-opener for us because we wanted to make sure that we serve them best and how to find that support for them and making sure that they're also building their learning experience in the early childhood realm, because we know that throughout their life, as they are building learning, that they will need to know how to navigate those waters of their diagnosis. Now, I don't really like the word disability. I address it as different ability. So that's something that I kind of dispel those myths, and I want to make sure that I am advocating on behalf. And as an educator, I have been in the realm of education for 21 years. It will be August the 20th of this year, celebrating 21 years. I have served in K-12 and higher ed simultaneously throughout my career in the realm of education, and I have seen a lot. Now I've done a lot. So, I tell my scholars and parents and things all the time is that I am here for you. I'm here to serve you and support you in any way that I can possibly can. And just to make sure that not only am I relatable, but I'm also solution focused as well. So here are the focus areas that we're going to be discussing today. And that is embracing your parental pathway, because everybody's pathway is different. Positive mindset, affirmation, top priority, understanding a little bit about time management and what is priority versus what is not, or, what is urgent versus what is not really urgent, and then utilizing all of your resources. Now, some of this information will sound repetitive, right? Because I'm sure that you all have already been exposed to a plethora of knowledge that childcare has already provided. But I believe that the more it's recited, the more you understand the importance of it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I also want to start off with identifying the classification types, right? Because families look different for each household. Okay, so we have the single parent, whereas one person raising a child or children. We have a two parent or a guardian that's raising, possibly a children or more than one. We have a blended family. Now that's a lot here, and especially in the days and times that we live in, a lot of different families are coming together as one. And I want to make sure that we, have laid out that foundation and understanding that there are some different types of families that are here within the time that we are living in. Of course, foster parent, godparent, grandparent, and any other guardian will come into play as well. So, all right. So embracing your parental pathway. So in regards to this, I had found this quote. I'm going to start out with it first before we dive a little deeper into this. It says, "Don't compare your life to others. There's no comparison between the sun and the moon. They shine when it's their time." Any thoughts on that quote as a parent, or in generally speaking, any thoughts you have?
I just read an article about the comparison trap, especially with social media, and just like how people, the author is talking about how they like choose pictures of their children, specifically on how the house looks on the behind them. Like, is there a pile of laundry behind them or not? And I was laughing because I feel like subconsciously sometimes like we do things like that because we want to like make it appear to be like perfect, but really there's pile of laundry. I mean, we're moving. I was telling Tamesha, and there's piles of boxes like all around me. You just can't see them because I'm like in this perfect little screen. So I think, we definitely struggle. I struggle with it as a parent. I know I can't be the only one.
Absolutely. And we all have our different moments to shine. And the one thing that I've learned, even as a parent, that you're going to have laundry in the background. You're going to have noise in the background. I work remote, so I speak remote a lot of times. So when I'm around the kiddos, yeah, stop this. Don't do that. Get out of my way. No, you took my cookie. No, give me back my milk. It can be a little overwhelming. So, there are times like I've even had to carve out time. Okay, guys, I'm presenting today, so I won't be able to see you for this short period of time, but I promise you, you guys will have my attention thereafter, right? And then sometimes they don't understand that they're kids. They're like, no, we're first graders. We don't have time. We need our attention right now. So like, even I feel like as a godparent, you're co-parenting with the parents. So you want to make sure that they are well received and that they are receiving that attention that they need, because there is a level of importance for them, but there's also a level of importance for you as you are pouring into your child, right? You want to pour back into yourself as well. But I just want to let you know that there is no comparison, and every household is different. And you don't have to worry about or even be concerned with, oh my gosh, my neighbor ran out and got a 52-inch flat screen TV. Let me go out and charge my card and get a 52-inch screen. No, you don't have to do that. There is absolutely no reason for the competition or the comparison, because your time is your time and their time is their time, So, and then we all shine differently. We all have a wealth. Everybody on this call is wealthy. You have a wealth in knowledge, you have a wealth in resources, you have a wealth in family and friends. Wealth is not just defined according to the economic status, the household size, the customs that you practice, the core beliefs that you have, or how many children you have. There's wealth on many different levels. And as you know, the societal phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. And, I agree with this. However, it does need to be tweaked a little bit because not everybody is equipped to be a part of that village. Right? I grew up at a time where if the neighbor saw me doing something wrong, I was disciplined by that neighbor, and back in those days, there was a little bit more of autonomy. We was more community focused. We was more community based. And now in this day and age, you better not touch my child. Come to me as a parent. Tell me what's going on with my child. Don't you raise your hand to my child. We don't live in those times anymore. I lived in a time where paddling was in schools. It's not in schools anymore. And even though it was in school, my parents still did not allow the principal to hit me with the yardstick. I'm so sorry. So it does take a village, and that you want to make sure that the right people in the right places is a part of that village. You want to make sure that those have your best interests at heart as a parent to give you a break. Again, mental health is important. To be able to take your child for a few hours, whether it be to a park or Chuck E. Cheese or some sort of attraction, but trusting them to know that they are going to love your child with the same unconditional love that you do is so important. We are living in a time where some parents, they don't care. They just drop their kids off anywhere. You don't ask no questions. You don't get no phone numbers. You don't know nobody's addresses, nothing. I'm like, okay, this is different. We didn't have that back in the 80s. I was born in 81. So society looked a little bit different than it does today. And I do have a parental tip that I want to share. And some have been a little bit reluctant to receive this tip. They're like, well, what do you mean? I say this motto is there's a difference in between being present versus absent. You can be present, you can be active and still be absent. So what do you mean by that, Tamesha? Sure, I'll share what I mean. So you can be at home at the dinner table, eating your food as a family and still not be focused on what your child is doing. Checking book bags. We don't do that anymore. Understand, I remember when we used to have the notes pinned to our clothes. Now they put them in the book bags. Some parents don't even check book bags when they get home. I know some of you all are working 2 and 3 jobs. Do you phone your children on your breaks or your lunches? So it's all kind of different things that we want to make sure that we remain connected and active in our child's life. And I know for me, I'm always at the school. If I'm on my break, if I need to volunteer, I'm in the PTA meeting. What do I need to do in order to make sure that these boys are getting a high quality education that they need during the time that they are here, during the grade level that they are in? Because if they're not, and I'm going to the school board, as she stated, I sit on a committee. I'm present. I am literally front facing. I'm like, I want to know what are the policies, what are the practices, how can I advocate, what are the solutions? If you don't have a solution, I have a solution for you. There is a big difference in between understanding, oh, okay, well, I'm going to drop my child off. They go, they get educated, they come home, they get a snack, they do their homework, they eat dinner, that's it. Check in with your babies. I believe that is so key, whether they are in 1st grade or if they are in 7th grade or if they're a senior in high school. It's so important. You never stop parenting, believe it or not. I was sharing with my god sister the other day. I said, you do realize that once the boys turn 18, that it's not over. It's just beginning. Even after they have done all of their education, they're still going to come home for dinners. They're still going to come home asking you do their laundry. They're still going to come home and seek advice and counsel for whoever they're dating, or if they're dating, or what career path to take. You don't stop being a parent because they've reached a certain age. That's not what it is. Until they feel like that they even have it all together, you still don't stop being a parent after that. So it's most definitely key to always be present as much as possible. And I know sometimes that does look different for everybody, because what may look different for me, what it may be different for you. And it's okay. Embrace those differences. Each child is different. I was reading an article the other day, I believe it came from CNN, something about parents raising multiple children under the same roof, coming from the same, background and upbringing, but once they branch out, they still become very different. So who your child is at 5 won't be who your child is at 16, won't be who your child is at 21. There are different phases, as you know. Or it could also be spent another way. You may have 5 kids, 5 biological children raised with the same customs, core beliefs, all this other different things, and then they still think differently, right? Still do things in a different way. You'd be like, oh my gosh, how is it that you all were raised in the same household, but you have different personalities, you are different people? And sometimes that's kind of hard to accept, because when they do grow up to be adults, or even as kids now, it's like, man, you guys' personality it's the same thing with the twins. It's like, man, you guys are identical twins, but you all have different personalities. One is a negotiator, the other one is a problem solver. I'm like, sheesh, one is more of a risk taker, the other one is more kind of a conservative. One is an introvert, the other one's an extrovert. Jonathan will walk up to you all right now. If he was here, he'll say, hi, everybody. What are you doing? What are you doing, Godmother? What are you doing? And sometimes they'll call me TT Misha. TT Misha, what are you doing? Who is that? Who is that? So, or Josiah will be more like, he's more like the reserved one. Just kind of give him the phone or a device or a piece of paper and a pen, and he'll go draw somewhere. So, kind of like really learning their developments at an early age, and then seeing how they evolve as they grow into those developments at a later age. It really does play a huge part as a parent, because you get to be able to shine with them while they're growing through those stages, right? So embracing that pathway, knowing that your pathway as a parent is different from somebody else's pathway. And I kind of always want to make sure that I share that with parents, because sometimes we do get fixated on other people's pathway, and that we should want to adopt the same things that they're doing into ours, but that model may not fit into your household. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Positive mindset. If you don't know me by now, you know that I have a lot of energy. That's just my personality. I'll always have adopted a positive mindset. I always look at it as the glass is half full, not half empty. Think positive. Positive people equals positive results. Your association, make it as positive as possible. Even when you got to go up to the school and talk to the principal, or if you got to go to the daycare center and speak to the caregiver at that time about anything. Well, how was their day? Their day wasn't really all that great. Okay, then how can we make it better? Tomorrow is a new day. So I always want to make sure that I share with parents, it's going to be okay. You may be overwhelmed here a little bit right now, but there is tomorrow. Tomorrow, you can always start over. You can always hit the reset button. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to linger over from what happened yesterday. And when you develop an understanding of seeing the good in all situations, whether it be positive or whether it be negative, whether your child is in trouble at school, okay, as a parent, okay, how can we improve in this? Let's encourage them. Okay, tomorrow is a new day. Let's go ahead. We're not going to hit Bobby. We're not going to hit Brian, right? We're going to keep our hands to ourselves. I know sometimes that's a little hard, but unless you are defending yourself, and even in that, tell the teacher. I know sometimes we as educators, we don't see everything all the time. So it's always good to bring it to our attention, so therefore we can be a little bit more attentive. And then also from a child perspective, give them a voice. Some parents do not give their kids a voice. Give them a voice. They deserve a voice. It's okay for them to have their voice. If they are angry, let them be angry in the moment. It's okay. It's healthy. as long as they're not completely outraged and turning tables over and throwing their devices. And even in that, hey, listen, let's pull back this anger a little bit. I understand that you are having a moment and it's okay. Do we need to take a time out? Because I tell the twins all the time, I'll never forget, they threw my phone. I was like, wait a minute. No, let's pull back. What's going on? Tell me, why are you angry? You have a voice. Some educators don't allow their students to have a voice. As a parent, they have a voice and they should be able to utilize that voice as well. Whether they are at home or whether they're in the classroom, it's important because they are human, just like we're human. This adulting thing is hard. This parenting is rough. And you're gonna make some mistakes. I'm gonna make some mistakes, and we're just all gonna make some mistakes together, but we're solution focused, and we wanna make sure that the solutions are implemented effectively. So, hey, listen, give your babies a voice and making sure, hey, we love you. We want to hear from you. What happened? So therefore, we are able to address it right then and there and don't have to wait.
And Tamesha, Taylor said in the comments, just being able to accept their voice and their opinion when it might be different than your own, and just listening it and taking it in.
Yeah, that's true. That is so very true. And sometimes that's hard to accept.
That's what I was going to say. It's very hard sometimes because, I mean, I was raised where, if I had a different opinion than my parents, most of the time it was like, well, you're a child. You know what I mean? Like, you're a child, you don't know. Or if it's like, well, I don't want to go to bed right now. Well, that's your choice, but I'm saying you need to go to bed because you have to go to school tomorrow and you need your rest. You know what I mean? Like, it's deciding what, like voice that, they have at that time.
No, yeah, that's true. And I want to piggyback off of what you said. I too was raised during a time where, children were to be seen and not heard. And we did not have a voice. You're a child, you don't know anything, you don't see anything. You go to school, you come home, and do it all over again the next day. And that's the farthest from the truth, especially in the times that we're living in. We're living in some crazy times. We're living in some times that we probably didn't even think that we would endure. And these children, they're being introduced to some things that I never would have thought that they would be introduced to, drugs at an early age. They're introduced to abuse at an early age. And I'm not even talking about in the household, I'm talking about at school. Their peers are going through things that they've never thought they would go through. So yes, giving them that voice and making sure that they have it at the appropriate time. I most definitely agree with you, Taylor. And I also think that it is imperative to have those conversations. And sometimes it's hard to have hard conversations with your child. You all remember back in the day, they used to have someone come in and talk about good touch, bad touch. I think it used to be like a police officer or some, I don't know if they still do those things anymore. And, we don't talk about molestation in the schools anymore, or we don't talk about how our babies are to share what is going on because they feel like, oh my goodness, I don't want to break a code of silence, or I don't want to break a code of trust. No, I am the parent. I need to know what is going on with you. Tell me. So therefore I'm able to address it. And that's so important. It's so, so important. As I shared here with a quote, it says, the way that we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. I believe that affirmations is key. Waking up in the morning, speaking life over your child, speaking life over yourself. As a parent, as a child, having them to do it, it builds their character, their esteem, their discipline, their self-worth, and their goals, knowing that, hey, listen, I am a positive person. I am someone who is strong. I am cute. I am handsome. I am creative. I can do this. I can. I remember when I was at Crystal House, I was working in the K-8 environment, and we was prepping for iRead for our third graders. And we used to do I can statements. And every day we will have a different I can statement. I can learn math. And that really showed difference in the test results.
What people really don't see is the behind the scenes work that get to the point where they're able to do well in the state testing, but not just in state testing, in life, period. But it starts at an early age. And I know that sometimes we forget about certain things, but even as a parent, we want to make sure that they affirm who they are every single day, because they see so much negativity when they go to school. They see how girls and boys are not behaving the way that they should be. And if we start this now, it will continue to, spill over throughout their life. So affirmations is most definitely key. And I would encourage you all to implement that if you haven't implemented already. So we know that life happens and time is of the essence. The one thing I will say is prioritizing according to your schedule can be overwhelming and it can be draining, right? You would need to kind of take a step back. I think the one common barrier for parents is our mental health. While we are planning the day, we need to take some time throughout the day to woosah, whether it be 15 minutes, whether it be 30 minutes or an hour. And you're not just a parent, you're a counselor, you're a therapist, you're the teacher, you are the warrior that makes sure that they are thriving at the grade level that they are currently in right now. So you hold many titles. It's not just a parent, you're an advocate for your babies as well. So, you want to plan your day as much as possible. And I'm not saying that you won't have to drop and not go to the school or not go to the daycare or the agency. There will be moments where some things need to roll over to the next day. And it's okay that it rolls over to the next day. I see Shelly, she's shaking her head like, yes, I know all about that.
Yeah, I homeschool. And so for us, I am the principal and the teacher. So
Yes.
sometimes math doesn't happen.
Crazy,
Absolutely.
That is a hard hat to put on.
I'm very lucky that we're able to do that, but it's interesting.
Indeed. And don't feel guilty about it either. Sometimes we feel guilty. We're like, oh man, if I don't get it done, if I don't stay up to midnight to make sure all of my agenda items is done on this list, then I won't get any sleep until it's finished. No, it can roll over to tomorrow. It really can. There's nothing wrong with putting it off. If you get 5 things done out of 8, that is a win for the day, okay? That is a huge win. And then it's okay to delegate responsibilities to your support system, whether they have older siblings, other friends, family members, any agencies that's able to help you and provide that support. I think it's so important. I shared a reminder here. The Taj Mahal wasn't built in a day. And God took 6 days for creation. So please make sure that you take time for yourself. It's so key, so important to do. And then utilizing all of your resources. I thought this was so cute. I thought the little baby with all the paint on his, I just wanted to go ahead and just shine and show that. I thought that was the cutest little thing because they always are in something. Whether it be paint or music, playing an instrument, they're always doing something. But I do want to encourage you all to utilize all of your resources because it is available to you. Community centers and agencies such as this one with Child Care Answers, they provide a plethora of knowledge. And I know that sometimes it may seem like, oh my goodness, all of these different things that they want me to do and classes that they want me to take. But it's so key to build the momentum and also to strengthen you as a parent or guardian. And then utilize those schools, man. They have a lot of information as well. And don't let them lie to you, say that they don't have it, because they do. By law, they have to. So they have it. They may not always want to share it, but they do have it. Maybe your local church or community center, food pantries have information as well. And people don't really utilize this next one. I encourage it because it is a resource. Your local library. You'll be surprised all the information that the library holds. Listen, they got all kind of networking relationships with outside, and people don't utilize the library. And I don't understand why. I've learned that since I was a kid. My mom would take us to the library. We used to go to Flanner House at the time when they had a library, and we would check out books. You know, now you as a child in schools, you can have your own library card. I thought that was cool. We didn't get a library card until maybe 5th grade. So, you know, I mean, the library is the source. It may not be the source of truth, but it's most definitely the source of, you know, to have all kind of different things that you may have never thought that you even knew about. So most definitely use your local library. And then parental support groups. Anyone on the call in a group, a parental support group? I know my god sister, she's a part of the Twin Moms group, which is really cool. How are your support groups coming along? Do you like them? Do you not like them? I'm curious to hear your feedback on that in regards to any parental support groups that you have joined.
I find more community. I'm not much of a time to sit down with people in a support group setting, but I am a part of a couple groups on Facebook that I follow, and I feel like I'm able to connect via their stories and conversations too. And that's specific to my parenting journey. I lost an infant a while ago, 5 years ago. And so having a support group that is just somewhere I can go and just watch and see what other people are experiencing and oh, me too. And this is normal, this isn't normal. It's very helpful, I think, just to be able to talk through things, or even not talk through things and just see what's going on in the community. So
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah,
it's great. Anyone else?
I bounce off what you said. I don't really have any I would love to find more in-person groups. I know with COVID, that's kind of become it's not really a thing anymore. But personally would like to try to find some, because I am in a blended family. I'm so glad that you brought awareness to that, because I've recently started advocating for blended families. We're not married, but I call him my son. My son, he's 9, and I've been with his dad since he was a year old. Bio mom's not in the picture, so I am mom, and he has recently started to call me mom and acknowledge that. I know, but anyway, I've joined a couple stepmom or bonus mom groups on Facebook, and I've kind of chimed in a few times on other people's posts, or posted my own things to get support with illnesses and stuff like that, of things I'm what is going on? I need some support on this or whatever. But utilizing those, has definitely been nice. But like I said, I would love to find a mom group that meets in person, or even a group for my son too, because he is an only child and he has a few friends from school, but it's nothing like when I grew up and I had friends, friends that live next door and all that. It's not like that anymore. So even finding groups like that for him too would be great.
Yeah, I wonder if there are
I know something.
Yeah.
So I'm in quite a few outdoor meetup groups. So they specifically meet at parks and playgrounds. So there's some that are for little kids, because their kids aren't in school yet, and so they're trying to find other moms that have other little kids. But there are also just Midtown meetups is one, and it's for people closer to Indianapolis, but I drive that far because I like the people. So and they probably have 2 to 3 events a week, so you can choose what works best with your schedule. So
Midtown meetups, I'll definitely have to write that down and look that up. yeah, I find that like there are a lot of support groups and like play groups for the younger kids, which is totally, okay, because that you are at home a lot and you want to find those groups. But the older ones, I don't feel like have that as much.
Well, that group specifically is mostly homeschoolers, so they're they have kids that are,
That's true.
teenagers that are homeschooled. So they have various ages down to like the siblings who are 3 years old, or whatever, up to whatever age.
Now, I would like to pose another question, and that is, how are you all doing with, adjusting to COVID? Although COVID has, I say we're having like this coming out stage, like where we're just slowly but surely like reopening up everything. And I know some are on edge still because not everybody's vaccinated and got their boosters and all the other good things. So how have you adjusted, and how has your scholars, I call them mini scholars, baby scholars, how have they adjusted as well with COVID?
I mean, my son, so if you think about it, my son, he was in first grade when like quarantine happened, and he didn't go back in person until February of 2021, and we didn't have him go back. So he literally was in third grade almost by the time he went back. So his only like normal year was kindergarten, and he did not do well with the like online learning. But once he went back in person, like he's thriving, because that's what he needs. And we did get him vaccinated because he is in that age range to get vaccinated, which we kind of we asked him if he wanted to be vaccinated. We let him make that choice for his own body. And he wanted to, so we got vaccinated, and his school probably like 2 or 3 months ago dropped when the mask mandate went away. They also dropped it. And we also gave him that choice of, do you want to wear a mask or do you not want to? Of course, he was like, I don't want to wear the mask anymore. And so we, and it's been going okay. It's been going better than I honestly thought it was. I thought he'd be sick every other week, but he's been doing all right. So I don't know. I don't think there ever will be another sense of like normal the way it was before, but I think we're doing all right with what we've got right now.
Okay. That's good. Do you feel supported?
For the most part, yeah. Like I said, there are like, social groups I'd like for him to join, or doing some kind of like sport or something to try to, because he hasn't really done any of that because he hasn't been old enough to, and of course during the pandemic we couldn't in person anyways. But yeah, for the most part I think so.
Okay, good. I always wanted to know, because I know sometimes with this whole COVID situation, it was worse than the swine flu, right? It was worse, Ebola, I mean, all of those different things, when those came out, but this hit us harder than ever. It was a worldwide pandemic. I mean, like, it was everybody across the board. So it was an adjustment for everybody, but especially for our young people and our babies, because e-learning isn't for everybody. That environment is just not for everybody. I fought back with some of our administrators when we were in person. I said, I really think that we need to rethink about the strategic plan of giving our babies the online learning. I think packets would have went a little bit more further and would have been a little bit more effective. But of course, I can't have those hard conversations because I'm not, in a position. However, I always share, I'm like, I'm on the front line, people, like, we're working in the classroom. Yeah. You guys are having meetings, right? Y'all talking about policies and practices. We over here teaching these students. So we're like, look, we need to create packets. Yeah. We understand that it's crazy. We don't know how long it's going to last. And they're like, oh, no, they'll be fine. No, they won't. Attention spans are different for every learner. Not all the babies is going to be attentive to, typing on a MacBook. Come on.
This is why I homeschool. I struggled. I was a good student. The teachers always loved me, but I would cry every night when my mom would try to help me with my schoolwork because I couldn't understand it, especially math. It would just move way too fast for me. And so I felt dumb through college, everything. And I said, I don't want that insecurity for my kids to feel like they're dumb. And that really hits your confidence when you see all these other kids getting it and you don't get it, and that's just one subject. So I was like, right now, when things are already so up and down, because we have a 3-year-old who's not vaccinated. So we aren't interested in going inside right now, just because she can't get a mask that fits nicely on her. And she doesn't mind wearing them, but it's not effective if it doesn't fit. And so she's, completely unprotected in a place where people are not wearing masks, and vaccinated or not vaccinated, you don't know what's happening in that situation. So it's best to just stay away from all of it, so you're not like so worried. So for us, the pandemic is very much still happening in our world. There is no easing out yet because we have to protect her, which I'm so happy to do. But at the same time, it's hard to see everyone else completely moved on because they're protected and they feel comfortable in those situations. And I'm happy for them. At the same time, I can't talk to them anymore because it's so hard to hear about, oh, we just went to Disney and we're going to Colorado next week. And we have a trip to Holiday World coming up. And I'm like, I can't.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is rough. That's rough. But you have to do what's best for you. So therefore you're able to stay safe and continue to build on top of the resources that you currently have, and don't feel pressured. I know that there are some people like, hey, if you're not vaccinated, you won't be able to hang out with, okay, well, I can't go this time. I mean, that's just
well, it is. For us, it's not the other people are saying things like if I say, we're not going to go to that thing, or like for Easter, for example, we were uncomfortable going inside to my parents' house because my sister and everyone had just come back from Disney that week. And we were like, we're not going to be going, we're going to be outside. And if you want to be outside, then we're happy to do that. Otherwise, we'll just go home, whatever. And it was okay, but it still was cringy because people were like not wearing, like, I don't know, it's just felt weird. Yeah. But yeah, so we're just.
Well, good for you guys sticking to your boundaries though too, like, and making sure you're not just like, because I know it'll just domino effect. Oh, well, this one time it'll be fine, and you can't do that, especially with your little one that can't get the vaccination.
Yeah. Well, and prior to COVID, I'm a travel blogger. So I'm an ambassador for the zoo, Conner Prairie State Museum, like all these places. And we would be out covering the events and everything like that. We would be out probably 4 days a week, me and my oldest. And that's what life she was used to. And so then it all stopped. And so it's harder for her. She's 8 and she can remember all of that. And so now it's like, come on with the vaccine so we can, we'll go to the zoo. We'll do outside stuff, but we can't go to the Children's Museum yet, and she went to school at the Children's Museum. So she's like waiting to get back there.
Yeah. I'm still wearing my mask, guys. I wear my mask when I go to the grocery stores. I'm out in public. I don't care where I am. Now, if I'm going into a vaccinated house, I'm more comfortable with, removing my mask.
Right.
But if the vaccinated house has unvaccinated individuals, then I'm wearing my mask. Yeah. So
I don't want that pressure on me.
Very comfortable. They're like, hey, I'm not getting vaccinated. This was just a hoopla. It was a hoax. It wasn't real. I'm like, I don't care what your opinion is.
I'm allowed to wear this. Yeah.
Don't care nothing about your opinion. It's okay. It's very much real. We had a lot of loss behind it. So let us not be, you know, naive or we're not oblivious to what's going on. With a lot of information that we are privy to, and then we should go ahead and take the necessary precaution. But I did wanted to go ahead and ask about support groups, because it is necessary to have, not only as a parent, but also for our babies as well, to make sure that, again, that their voice is heard and that they have that social development. Because, you know, I know with that transition, that social development piece was missing, you know, and for some it still is, because a lot of them still have not returned back to face-to-face learning. Some of them are still online. One school, one friend of mine, her son, he's, I want to say, a sophomore in high school. That school has always been online. It's always been e-learning. So it affected his social development a little bit, but, you know, she continues to keep him active, making sure that he does be around his peers and all that, and taking those safety precautions is key. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and Tamesha, I did want to share too, this is a little bit of a shameless plug, but next week we're doing a workshop on, we call it summer staycation, but it's just all the resources this summer. And there's a lot of outdoor activities. We have like bingo cards for like creek stomping and like parks and stuff. But I think, you know, even just leaning on those resources too in the community that's going on during the summer. I know there's a ton of things. We were talking about even just like a farmer's market and just getting out and like being a part of the community in a different way. Just helps when it's outside and you're, you know, available to just do something different than in your house and, you know, your backyard or whatever. So yeah.
Love those outdoor activities. I'm a big kid at heart, you know, I'm a child at heart. So I like to do things fun too. Although I do agree with you all, especially I think Shelly mentioned, I have not had the courage to go to the Children's Museum. I don't think I'll be going anytime soon. Just saying, I can do the zoo because it's outdoors.
The issue with the Children's Museum, the issue with the Children's Museum is pre-pandemic, you knew you were going home with a cold, period. Like you knew you were gonna have sick kids when you came back from there. That's just the nature of it. There's so many kids that go through there. It's inevitable. So now it's like, okay, we're just gonna wait a little bit longer. Although the Sports Legends is worth, like, I love the Sports Legends. The outside area, it's so fun.
I was gonna say, so I did take my son over his spring break. We did go to the Children's Museum. We did not get sick. I was very surprised, but I made sure like we were constantly like hand sanitizing and like we had our masks if we were inside. But yeah, we literally spent, I mean, probably like almost 2 hours out in the sports area.
Oh yeah.
Because that's really where he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, we spent most of the time outside. But even when I was inside, like it was kind of hit and miss. Nobody was like, some people were wearing their masks, but a lot weren't.
Right.
And yeah, but I know I was like, we have the access pass. So I was like, we need to just do it. And I need to get him out. It's spring break. And
yeah.
And so we had
well, you know, being a homeschooler, I know when to go is when everyone's in school. So I'm not going to be going anywhere when it's spring break, because I could go at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday and there will be no one there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
and
they
I went
still
during spring
offer,
break. Yeah, I was pretty busy.
does the Children's Museum still offer the first Thursdays for free, first Thursday of the month for free?
Yeah.
Do they? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we used to, that was the only time we went to the Children's Museum, when it was free for the first Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll go.
It still is. I think it was sponsored by Target at one point. I don't know if it still is, but they do have that still going on.
Cool. Well, good. Well, I wanted to open up the floor for any questions that you may have. And feel free to let me know if you do have any questions or comments or anything. I can most certainly answer those at this time.
I just really appreciate it. I just want to, one of my takeaways for today is that village comment you made. I think, you know, it's always important to like open up and, you know, invite people to be a part of your village, but also not everyone has to be. And I think, you know, I'm a young mom in the sense that my baby is only 11 months old. And so, just like starting to build my village and like who I want to be a part of it. And so I think it's just an important reminder for any parent that, like, yes, it takes a village, but it's a privilege to be in your child's village. And so taking that seriously, I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's very true. And then, don't feel guilty if those that are not a part of the village that want to be, and you have to tell them no, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. And they have to be okay with that, even if they don't want to be. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any other comments or takeaways or questions?
I have a question. I don't know if any of you will have an idea for this, but the past couple of weeks, my oldest hasn't even wanted to go to a park because she's feeling overwhelmed with like the amount of people there, which they were busy days. So it wasn't like a, when no one's there type thing, just a few families. It was a lot of people, but I don't know how to help her, because what I've said is we can take your scooter, then you can just be away from people and we can still be outside, and or like your younger sister can play on the toddler area because she's not, interested in the toddler area, but there's way too many kids on the big kid area. And so I'll say you can bring your journal, do some drawing at a picnic table, just something like that. So Lily can still be able to play and we can be outside, but you're not directly like feeling really stressed out about this situation. So
is it what time? So is it a time?
So it's usually around like 2 or 3.
Okay. Usually the parks aren't there on a weekend or a weekday?
No, during the week.
Yeah.
Really?
That's crazy. I think
it's because spring break stretched so far.
True. It is.
Yeah.
It's like 2 weeks for spring break.
So even if our specific town was not on spring break, there are kids from other places visiting grandparents or whatever the case is. And so there was just for like a full month there, every park was super full. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe we might be in the clear now, but now she's scared. So.
I think, just what you did sounds like a great first step too, just giving her options to do that is not around people. And then also I think, the idea of giving transition warnings, but like maybe even beforehand, not scaring her obviously, but like we are going to a park, there will be people, here's a list of things we can do, and maybe even just letting her like pack her bag or being a part of that. You probably do all that too, but
oh yeah, she's 8, she packs her backpack.
Yeah. And so she's got all that taken care of. But I think, it takes time to get back into the world. A lot of children are struggling with that. So just acknowledging it, and sometimes just like even stating why, like, I think you're a little bit scared because of this, and then like having that conversation with her. I think sometimes like what Tamesha was saying too, it's like giving them a voice and like hearing about it and talking about it, which I'm sure you do, but just even helping her find those words for it can help. At least start identifying it is important.
And she is working on it and being able to identify the specific feelings as well, the difference between worry, anxiety, sadness. She talks to a therapist each week, so she's helping her figure her words out better than I am equipped to help her.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's great.
I was gonna share. I know, Shelly, are you in? You say you're in Fisher. Do you reside in Fishers? So, do they have like smaller parks?
So there are parks in neighborhoods, but they're not like on maps. So you have to just go drive around neighborhoods to find them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's an option that we could do.
What about the school parks too? Like,
so we go there on the weekend because we're right next to a school. And so we go there on the weekends when there's
nobody around. I was gonna say that's always an option. You can't find not one child or parent on the school park during the weekend.
All right. Maybe at the baseball diamond next to it, but not ever at the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions or comments, takeaways?
Thank you for hosting this. And Tamesha, thank you for talking to us.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, and my hope is that you did receive something from it and that you will be able to implement something. Before I go, I wanted to share my latest project, as you know, Jamie had mentioned in my bio. So I just released, well, I'm a co-author of a book we all released. Our latest book project is called The Impact of Influence. It's volume 3. The lead author is Chip Baker. He's an amazing presenter. He's also a coach. He resides in Texas. And we were blessed to be Amazon #1 bestseller in 8 categories.
Good job.
Good job. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's so cool. So if you ever want to, you need a copy, you need to pick me up, inspirational book, next read, feel free to go to my website, tameshaspeaks.com, and order your autographed copy.
It's going to be sitting right next to my Unpack Your Impact. So it's going to be The Impact of Influence right next to Unpack Your Impact.
Oh, that's funny.
I like that.
Yeah.
Also, feel free to follow me on social media as well.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, I am done. It's been an amazing time to be with you all. I am so excited for your next steps as a parent and your next steps with your scholars, your baby scholars, and to see all the great things that they're getting ready to do. And just through their development, continue to support them, build those affirmations. Those things are key, and you will see a difference in that as well.
Well, thank you so much, Tamesha. It was really great. And if you want to send me an email, we do help families in a lot of ways, from giving them just resources, community, and then also we do provide one-on-one support too, as well, if there's an issue or just a concern that you might have and you just need a little bit more information about it. So feel free to always email me. And Tamesha, thank you so much.